Om Sai Ram, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Before I start Shri Sai Satcharitra Chapter 2, Part 2, I'm welcome one and all to my YouTube channel Shri Sai Prerane. Chapter 2, Part 2, Significant and Prophetic Title. The word discussion put me in mind of my promise to explain the story of my getting the title of Hemadapant, and now I begin to relate the same. I was no close friendly terms with Kaka Saheb Dikshit and Nana Saheb Chandorkar. They pressed me to go to Shirdi and have Baba's darshan, and I promised them to do so. But something in the meanwhile turned up which prevented me from going to Shirdi. The son of friend of mine at Lonavala fell ill. My friend tried all possible means, physical and spiritual, but the fever would not abate. At length, he got his guru to sit by the bedside of his son, but this too was of no avail. Hearing this, I thought, what was the utility of the guru if he could not save my friend's son? If the guru can't do anything for us, why should I go to Shirdi at all? Thinking this way, I postponed my Shirdi trip, but the inevitable must happen, and it happened in my case as follows. Mr. Nana Saheb Chandorkar, who was a divisional officer, was going on tour to Bassein. From Tana, he came to Dadar and was waiting for a train bound for Bassein. Meanwhile, a Bandra local turned up. He sat in it and came to Bandra and sent for me and took me to task for putting off my Shirdi trip. Nana's argument for my Shirdi trip was convincing and delightful, so I decided to start for Shirdi the same night. I packed up my luggage and started for Shirdi. I planned to go to Dadar and from there to catch the train for Manmad, and so I booked myself for Dadar and sat in the train. While the train was to start, a Mohammedan came hastily to my compartment and seeing all my paraphernalia asked me where I was bound to. I told him about my plan. He then suggested that I should go straight to Bori Bandar and not to wait at Dadar as the Manmad mail did not stop at Dadar. If this little miracle or Leela had not happened, I would not have reached Shirdi next day as settled, and many doubts would have assailed me. But that was not to be. As fortune favored me, I reached Shirdi the next day before 9 or 10 a.m. Babu Sahib, that is Kaka Dikshit, reached Shirdi the next day before 9 or 10 a.m. was waiting for me there. This was in 1910, when there was only one place with Satewada for lodging pilgrim devotees. After alighting from the Tonga, I was anxious to have darshan when the great devotee Tatya Sahib Nulkar returned from the masjid and said that Sai Baba was at the corner of the Wada and that I should first get the preliminary darshan and then after bath see him at leisure. Hearing this, I ran and prostrated before Baba, and my joy knew no bounds. I found more than what Nana Chandorkar had told me. All my senses were satisfied, and I forgot my thirst and hunger. The moment I touched Sai Baba's feet, I began a new lease of life. I felt myself much obliged to those who spurred and helped me to get the darshan, and I considered them as my real relatives, and I cannot repay their debt. I only remember them and prostrate, that is mentally, before them. The peculiarity of Sai Baba's darshan, as I found it, is that by his darshan our thoughts are changed, the force of previous actions is abated, and gradually non-attachment or dispassion towards worldly object grows up. It is by the merit of actions in many past births that such darshan is got, and if only you see Sai Baba, all the world assumes the form of Sai Baba. On the first day of my arrival in Shirdi, there was a discussion between me and Bala Sahib Bhate regarding the necessity of a guru, I contended. Why should we lose our freedom and submit to others? When we have to do our duty, why a guru is necessary? One must try his best and save himself. What can guru do to a man who does nothing but sleeps indolently? Thus I pleaded free will while Mr. Bhate took up the other side with destiny and said, whatever is bound to happen must happen. Even great men have failed. Man proposes one way, but God disposes the other way. Brush aside your cleverness, pride, and egoism won't help you. This discussion, with all its pros and cons, went on for an hour or so, and as usual, no conclusion was arrived at. We had to stop the discussion ultimately as we were exhausted. The net result of this was that I lost my peace of mind and found that unless there is a strong body, consciousness, and egoism, there would be no discussion. In other words, it is egoism which breeds discussion. Then we went to the masjid with others. Baba asked Kaka Sahib Dikshit the following: what was going on in the Satevada? What was the discussion about? And staring at me, Baba further added, what did this Hemadapant say? Hearing these words, I was much surprised. The masjid was at a considerable distance from Satevada, where I was staying at and where the discussion was going on. How could Baba know our discussions unless he is omniscient and inner ruler of us all? I began to think why Sai Baba should call me by the name Hemadapant. This word is a distorted form of Hemadripant. This Hemadripant was a well-known minister of the kings Mahadev and Ramdev of Devagiri of the Yadav dynasty. He was very learned, good-natured, and the author of works such as Chaturvarga Chintamani, dealing with spiritual subjects, and Raj Prashasti. He invented and started new methods of accounts and was the originator of Mudhi, that is Marathi shorthand script. But I was quite the opposite, an ignoramus and mediocre intellect. So I could not understand why the name or title was conferred upon me. But thinking seriously upon it, I thought that the title was a dare to destroy my ego, so that I should always remain meek and humble. It was also a compliment paid to me for the cleverness in the discussion. Looking into the history, we think that Baba's words calling Mr. Dabolkar by the name Hemadapant was significant and prophetic, as we find that he looked after the management of Sai Sansthan very intelligently, kept all the accounts properly, and was also the author of such a good work, Sai Satcharita, which deals with such important and spiritual subjects as dhyan, bhakti, dispassion, self-surrender, and self-realization. About the necessity of a guru, Hemadapant has left no note, no memo about what Baba said regarding this subject, but Kaka Sahib Dikshit has published his notes regarding this master. Next day, after Hemadapant's meeting with Sai Baba, Kaka Sahib went to Baba and asked, Baba, where to go? Baba said, high up. Then the man said, where is the way? Baba said, there are many ways leading there. There is one way from here, Shirdi also. The way is difficult. There are tigers and wolves in the jungles on the way. I, Kaka Sahib, asked, but Baba, what if we take a guide with us? Baba answered, then there is no difficulty. The guide will take you straight to your destination, avoiding wolves, tigers, and ditches, etc. on the way. If there be no guide, there is the danger of you being lost in the jungles or falling into the ditches. Mr. Dabolkar was present on this occasion, and he thought that this was the answer Baba gave to the question whether Guru was a necessity. White Sai Leela, Volume 1, Number 5, page 47, and he thereupon took the hint that no discussion whether man is free or bound is so of any use in spiritual matters, but on the contrary, real Paramatma is possible only as the result of the teachings of the Guru, as is illustrated in this chapter of the original work in the instances of great avatars like Ram and Krishna, who had to submit themselves to their Gurus, Vasishtha and Sandipani respectively, for getting self-realization, and that the only virtues necessary for such progress as faith and patience. Wait, Saint Sai Satcharitra, Chapter 2, 191-92. By this, I complete Sri Sai Satcharitra, Chapter 2. Om Sai Pranam.